Ready? I've been ready. What are we waiting for?
The boy is mine.
Are you ready?
Creed. By overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With very special guest, Daughtry. And Mammoth. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Creed with Daughtry and Mammoth. The Summer of '99 tour.
1, 2, 3. Ready, go.
Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough studio, FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you didn't get too attached to the J-Huff era of the Memphis Grizzlies, because it is now over after a weekend move. J-Huff out, Jock Landale in. And the Summer Grizz are 1-0 in Salt Lake City, so that's a nice development from the weekend. We'll talk about all of it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you in the next segment. About 20 minutes, Michael Eaves is going to join me, and I'll talk to him about a number of things, including a big NBA trade this morning. Norman Powell is now a member of the Miami Heat. Michael Eaves will be here. I'll talk to him about that and other things. We're going to do it in about 20 minutes. When I finish talking to Mike, we're going to take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, the Major League Baseball All-Stars have been announced. Congrats to ECS graduate Brent Rooker and Arlington High graduate Hunter Goodman. Both were named All-Stars this weekend. Terrific stuff for area baseball community. We'll celebrate both players. We'll do it in about 40 minutes. The NBA is testing, not sure if you noticed, a new way of recording stats in Summer League. Hopefully it eventually carries over to the regular season. I will tell you what I'm talking about. We'll do that a little later on in the show. Bradley Beal is reportedly evaluating possible free agent destinations in advance of an expected buyout with the Suns. Reportedly, a decision by Phoenix is expected early this week. We'll spend some time on that situation. We'll do that in just a bit. Scarlett Johansson has become the highest grossing actor of all time at the worldwide box office, thanks to the success of Jurassic World Rebirth. Incredibly, films in which she has either been the lead or at least played a prominent character in have now done more than $14.85 billion at the worldwide box office. That's the record. I'll give you some more numbers. We'll do that in the second hour. And a tragedy down in Texas this weekend. More than 80 people, many of them children at a summer camp, have died as a result of flash flood in the middle of the night. Just an absolute nightmare situation. I'll get you updated on it during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's Carryout, and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to. But I did want to start with your Memphis Grizzlies because a few things have happened since we last sat here. I guess it was last Wednesday.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. We had to celebrate America's birthday. Happy birthday to America.
Happy birthday.
It's been a minute, but we're back now. The Grizz made a few different moves. Let's walk you through them. They made a trade, agreed to a deal with a free agent, and also started Summer League. So I told you there's a lot to get to. Let's take those things in that order. First things first. Happy trails, J. Huff.
Oh, man.
Happy trails, J. Huff.
I was bummed to see that.
We barely knew you. The 7'1" reverse dunking center has been traded to the Eastern Conference champion, Indiana Pacers, in exchange for a 2029 second-round pick and a 2031 second-round pick swap. That move opened a roster spot that will be filled by Jock Landale, a free agent who last played for the Houston Rockets. He was in Houston last season, the St. Mary's graduate. He appeared in 42 games for the Rockets. He averaged 4.8 points, 3.3 rebounds, and 11.9 minutes per contest. Before that, he had played for the Spurs and also the Phoenix Suns. Big Bet Bennett, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good Monday morning to you. Hope you had a nice, safe time celebrating America's birthday.
I did.
I assumed as much. First question of the day. We'll make it first question of the week for you. Are you comfortable at this point in your life with basically replacing J. Huff with Jock Landale?
I think so. I mean, I'm bummed to see J. Huff go because I think he's a good player. I do. I think just from what I've seen people say, and I saw Jock Landale play in here last year, and I think it's true what a lot of people are saying is just right now for what this team needs, he's a better fit, which is this team desperately needs rebounding, and he's a better rebounder than J. Huff is. I've seen the comparison, who's the better player. I think it may be debatable, but for what this team needs right now, it makes sense to go get a guy like Jock Landale, and you're not going to carry a million centers on your roster.
Here's what I think I hear you saying.
Uh-huh.
Here's what I think you hear you saying. If you just put both players in a draft and you were trying to build an expansion team and you could take J. Huff or Jock Landale, you might personally take J. Huff. You might think he's the better player. But given the very specific set of circumstances the Memphis Grizzlies find themselves in right now, you also might think Jock Landale, even if he's the inferior player in a vacuum, might be the better fit for these Memphis Grizzlies. Is that what I hear you saying?
I think so.
I think that's the consensus.
J. Huff was a guy, last year it was exciting early on. We had the highlight plays. He would come in a game, hit a bunch of threes.
Reverse dunk.
Yeah, reverse dunks.
He'd hit threes and reverse dunk.
And so people were excited about whoa, did we get a steal here? This guy is awesome. And he is a good player. But at the same time, and I don't want to disparage the guy, but there was a reason he wasn't playing heavy minutes, when they needed him later on in the season, right? So yeah. I think basing this decision on fit makes a lot of sense for the Grizzlies right now.
He is what he is. And what he is a legitimate NBA player. I don't know every day since he entered the league that he had been labeled a legitimate NBA player. It was touch and go there for a minute. But I do think last season in Memphis, he proved himself to be a legitimate NBA player, but a bottom roster NBA player as opposed to a real rotation player. Either way, he goes to Indiana now. I don't know if you heard, but they just lost Miles Turner. And in theory, the motivating factor for both the Grizzlies and the Pacers here on some level could be that they need a player more similar to the one that they expected to have but just lost.
Yeah.
Follow me here. The Pacers did not think they were losing Miles Turner. I promise you, heading into Game 7 of the NBA Finals, they did not think they were losing Miles Turner.
That's still weird, but yeah.
So that he was he was there for a long time.
I do not know why Indiana let him go. I don't understand that at all.
Cheap.
You're one game away from being champs. Why not run it all back?
Because Tyrese Halliburton has a torn Achilles.
I got it.
And
but
you don't
Miles Turner's still young.
Young enough.
Yeah.
Oh, there is real reason to be critical of the Pacers front office for being cheap. And if you're Tyrese Halliburton, you're like, okay, I'm not going to play next season, but I am coming back eventually. And I want that guy to be on my team.
Yeah.
Right? So
look what we just did. Yeah.
So the front office in Indianapolis, they decided they did not want to pay the tax bill that would come along with paying Miles Turner. So they went cheap, and now they lost Miles Turner. J. Huff is not Miles Turner. Anybody telling you that is crazy.
Sure.
Okay? But he's a 7'1", 240-pound center, and 66% of his field goal attempts come from three. He is more like Miles Turner than perhaps anybody else they could have gotten at this point to be like Miles Turner. So the Pacers are motivated to go out and get a Jay Huff because of something that just happened to their front court. And the Grizzlies similarly are motivated to go out and get a Jock Landale because of something that happened to their front court, specifically starting center Zach Edey had to have off-season surgery. So is Jock Landale Zach Edey? No more than Jay Huff is Miles Turner.
Right.
But you're just doing the best you can in these less than ideal situations. And so Jay Huff is a better replica of the Miles Turner type of player for the Pacers than perhaps anybody else they could have gotten would be in this moment. And in Memphis, it's like, well, we need somebody who is a little more physical, who is a little more like Zach Edey, who can rebound a little bit more, particularly now, not entirely because, but in some ways now, because you're also dealing with a Jaren Jackson Jr. injury. You go out and get a Jock Landale. You basically push a Jay Huff out to bring a Jock Landale in. It's not that simple, but that is, in terms of the big roster moves, that's what happens. And you don't do it because you insist, bang on the table, we've got the better player now. It's just that we've got a better fit for our roster now because this guy is 6'11", 255 pounds, and barely shoots threes at all.
That's true.
He's not taller than Jay Huff, but he is bigger, and he's more physical. And his offensive rebounding percentage, to your point, ranked in the top 75% of all bigs last season, according to a story published this weekend by the Daily Memphian's Drew Hill. So Jock Landale is closer to Zach Edey than Jay Huff is to Zach Edey. So with the former top 10 pick still recovering from ankle surgery and expected to miss the start of the season, the roster, as the story goes, needed a more physical big, both to help with preparation in the preseason, but also once the season begins, at least until Zach Edey is back on the court. So when you combine that with the fact that the Grizz also added draft assets here, and the fact that the move does provide financial flexibility, I know that's a buzzy word everybody loves or hates, but it's a real thing. Financial flexibility, considering you get off of a multi-year deal and replace it with what is expected to be a one-year deal worth the vet minimum. And this specific thing makes sense for this franchise in this moment, given these very specific set of circumstances. That's my assessment, at least.
I like the assessment.
I think you co-sign it.
I do co-sign. Yeah. I like Jay Huff. I think Jay Huff is a good player. I think Jay Huff's going to be good for Indiana. I just think right now what this team is desperate for is, again, physicality and rebounding in the front court. And so hopefully, in theory, they get a placeholder here to help out until Zach Edey gets back.
That's all you're hoping for. Just can you rebound? Can you be physical?
Yep.
Can you set screens? Can you be more suitable for Tomas Isolo's offensive approach than what Jay Huff would have been, particularly in the absence of Zach Edey? I think a reasonable answer to that question is yes, and that is among the reasons, not the only reason, but among the reasons you do this deal. Beyond that, hey, Summer League got underway this weekend.
I was locked in.
Summer League got underway this weekend in Salt Lake City. I know the Western Conference playoffs didn't go perfectly.
It didn't.
But, hey, all I know is that on Saturday, for the fifth time since the NBA regular season ended, the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Memphis Grizzlies participated in a basketball game against each other. Mm-hmm. The first four, it went the Thunder's way.
That's right.
They had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Mm-hmm. He didn't play last night or 2 nights ago.
The Thunder played.
The Thunder did play, yes. They had Thunder logos on their uniforms.
You can say whatever you want to say, Bennett. What I watched on Saturday was the Memphis Grizzlies against Oklahoma City Thunder.
That's what my eyes saw.
5 times now, those franchises have met on a basketball court since the end of the regular season. The first 4 went the Thunder's way. Woo, boy, did they ever. Okay? But
Ja got hurt.
Don't ever forget Ja got hurt.
Don't ever forget that.
I guess on some level it's hard to forget. But don't ever forget. Revenge started this past weekend.
You're damn right it did.
Revenge started this past weekend. Can Jalen Wells and Gigi Jackson help you against the actual Oklahoma City Thunder? Probably not.
Oh, we don't know, though.
Well, Jalen was hurt. But, oh, buddy, they can help you against the Summer Thunder.
Damn right they
20
can.
points for both. In all seriousness, it is what it is. It was what it was. They look the way you're supposed to look when you are actual NBA players, like full roster players,
yes,
playing in a summer league. They look the way they're supposed to look. Cam Spencer, there were 3 full roster guys in the starting lineup, and they all 3, like none of them went out and won MVP night 1 of the summer league, but they all went out and performed the way you would expect them to perform.
Yep.
Nobody got hurt. Cedric Coward did not play, still recovering from shoulder surgery. So those were the headlines. Your full roster guys looked the way they're supposed to look. Cedric Coward, the 11th pick in the draft, did not play. Javon Small did and played well, or played fine.
Yeah, man, there
whatever.
was some intriguing stuff there for sure.
And then Jemai Meshack did not play because we were still waiting on some business to get handled, like transactional business stuff. I know that was confusing for some yesterday where you see this, the first ever 7-team trade in NBA history goes down, and it's like, and Jamal Meshack's part of it, and like, I don't see the Grizzlies, what is going, it just, this is the way business gets
Semantics,
done in the NBA.
yeah.
This is why people don't know what hat to put on the night of the draft. But
Right.
like, Jamal Meshack is a member of the Memphis Grizzlies. He, is in Salt Lake City. He did not play on Saturday, but is at least eligible, Jemai Meshack, to play tonight. Not sure if he will. Jess said this morning we'll get an update perhaps a little later on this afternoon. But either way, Summer Grizz win Game 1 out in Salt Lake City, and Game 2 is set for tonight. Tonight is against the Summer Jazz. Ace Bailey.
Oh, they get home court advantage.
It's home court advantage.
It's not fair.
I'm not concerned about that. I'm not concerned about going on the road in the summer league.
Yeah. So just based off one overreaction to one summer league, Utah summer league game, to everything that you said about those, those second year guys that are main roster guys, Gigi being like a third year guy, is true. Like, you just want to see them go out there and look like they don't belong because they're just better than everybody. They're NBA players. I will say, Jalen Wells, I'm very excited about, man. I think there's a chance to see this guy take a leap. I'm so excited he's playing. I was worried, earlier in the summer about the wrist injury and maybe it would hold him out from summer league. Awesome to see him playing, and I think he's got a real chance to be a starter on this Grizzlies team this year.
He's a second-round pick who became a starting, reliable starter on a 48
starter again, I should say,
on a 48-win team as a rookie. That's amazing. There is no doubt that will forever be a real hit for Zach in the front office.
Yes,
finding him in that spot in that draft. Now the question just becomes, how good can he be?
How good can he be?
Okay, we know he's good, but where's the ceiling? Like, does it plateau a little bit? Like, there have been rookies of the year in the NBA. And then they just like
Michael Carter Williams. Yeah,
that's the best.
That's a huge list of names.
Yeah, they're like, whoa, wow, what is this?
Yeah.
And then it's just like nothing. It's just like nothing special. It's just a person. Like, we know he's good. We know he can be good. We know at that place in the draft, he will forever be considered a wonderful pick. But where does it go from here? How good can he be? I think that's a reasonable question to ask, and hopefully we get a positive answer in year 2. But Saturday was the first time we've seen him on a basketball court since we saw him lying on a basketball court in Charlotte.
That's right.
So it was just nice to see him. New haircut, and got 20 points and looked the part. Looked exactly the way he's supposed to look. Who knows if he's going to continue to play in Salt Lake City and in Las Vegas, but so far, so good. Michael Eaves up next.
We get to the main event. And you hear the crowd. There's some rumblings in the crowd.
Here we go.
They say, "We want truth."
I love how John Cena said when they were chanting, "We want truth." You can't handle the truth.
There you go.
I loved it.
He takes the knee off, boom. Takes the mask off, boom. And it's our freaking truth. God, man, he cost John Cena the match.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Have you always dreamed of entertaining on the biggest stage in Memphis? The Claw Crew is looking for members to join their team for the 2025-2026 season. Claw Crew members are hardworking, high-energy entertainers who assist Grizzlies home games by hyping up the crowd and much more. Not only do they support the Grizzlies at home games, but also promote in Memphis and across the Mid-South. Open auditions are Saturday, August 9th at FedEx Forum. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions for more information and to register today.
The First Ladies of FedEx Forum, the Grizz Girls, are known across the NBA for setting the standard for professional dance and entertainment, and they are looking for dancers to join their team for the 2025-2026 season. With the chance to gain professional dance experience, collaborate with national and local artists, and connect with the Memphis community, auditioning for the Grizz Girls is an opportunity you do not want to miss. Come show up and show out at Open Call Auditions. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions now for more information.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
The FedEx St. Jude Championship at TPC Southwind, first of the 3 playoff events.
Watch me take flight. It's a different sight when you take it to this height. And you notice, we them boys stepping to the wars, ready to give me my awards. I got them starstruck. I got nothing to lose, so I'm letting it loose. Out here paying my dues. I got them starstruck.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. We're inside the Bill Ford Tough Studio, and on Mondays in the second segment, I'm joined by Michael Eaves from ESPN. He, of course, hosts a Sports Center and is in the progress of the 50 States in 50 Days series that will take him home to Kentucky a little later on this week. Michael Eaves joins me now. Good to see you, buddy. And that's exciting, isn't it, going home to Kentucky this weekend to host Sports Center? Let's just stop there for a second. If I'd have ever told you when you were 18, 22, 25, had dreams of becoming whatever you could become in this industry. If I ever told you one day you'll go back to your home state and host Sports Center from there, that's like, seriously, I'm not trying to gas you up, but that's an awesome thing, man. I hope you're proud of yourself.
Turn his mic on. Turn your mic on. Turn your mic on.
Mike, we can't hear you. I think we might have a mute situation.
All right, so I appreciate what you said.
Got it.
And not to sound too full of myself, if you would ask me that at a certain age, I would have said, yeah, I would be working for Sports Center because that was the goal, obviously, right? But it's different, though, to your point that we're taking it back to Kentucky. And I do love this idea that we're taking Sports Center on the road to every state in the union. Because I've said 2 things about what I do for a living, Gary, for quite some time. One, I think it's important to talk to the people you talk about. So for me, going to events and talking to athletes and coaches has always been invaluable to me. Even if I'm just doing a 45-second highlight on Sports Center, if you talk to the athletes and coaches on those respective teams, that highlight's going to be better. You're going to give the audience more perspective, more context. But also believe that we have to remember why sports is such a big deal in this country in the beginning, and that is the fans. And I think we have to continue that outreach and bring Sports Center and other shows to these areas of the country that don't normally get it. All the big cities, all the main sports, they're going to get coverage, right? But there are certain areas of the country that don't have professional teams, but they do have these events in and around the state that is a huge tie to the local community. And you've seen a lot of those so far in our early coverage of 50 and 50, and we're going to continue to do that over the next 6-7 weeks. And for me to go to Kentucky and go to the Louisville Slugger Museum, there's so much history around baseball in this country. It was the national pastime, obviously, at one point, and so much of it has to do with that bat. Where we're taking you to that museum to show you some of the most storied bats of all time, but also just sort of how that ties into the community. But, oh, by the way, we're in Louisville. We got to go to Churchill Downs, the most famous horse race in the world, and we're going to the Muhammad Ali Center, maybe the most famous athlete of all time. And that's just in the city of Louisville, within the bluegrass of Kentucky. So I'm excited about it.
So I knew you were going to be at the Louisville Slugger Factory Museum. I've been to Louisville a lot of times. I've been to Churchill Downs. I've been to the Yum Center. I've been to Freedom Hall. I've been to a lot of places. I've never been to that. Should I go? I love baseball. Is that somewhere I should, next time in Louisville, take the time and spend a day there?
If you are a baseball fan, you should go to the Louisville Slugger Museum, 100%. Again, just to see some of the most historic bats in the world. Like some of them, obviously, at Cooperstown. The other ones are at the Louisville Slugger Museum. You can see how the bats are made right there in the factory. You can get one personalized if you want. It's just a really cool piece of baseball history, and a lot of people just don't realize it is right there in Louisville, Kentucky.
Well, listen, man, I'm really happy for you that you're going to be able to do that, to go back to your home state of Kentucky and host this program that has been a part of our lives forever. Like, you know, I am somebody who grew up watching SportsCenter. So to see you be able to do this, I'm just really happy for you as your friend. So congratulations on all of that. Let's stick to baseball. A week from now, we will be in the All-Star Game festivities. And the night before the All-Star Game will be the Home Run Derby. And that is a big event that brings a lot of eyeballs to the sport. And it'll be fun because with the current format and the clock, it has tended to be fun. Ronald Acuna is going to be there. He's awesome. But Shohei has already said he's not doing it. Aaron Judge has already said he's not doing it. Pete Alonso confirmed yesterday he's a two-time winner, said he's not doing it. And they all point to some version of, it takes a real toll on your body to swing a bat like that over and over again. And I am more focused on trying to win a World Series, trying to continue having a great year. Alonso didn't say this, but he's in a contract year, and he's had a great first half. He doesn't want to do anything to screw up his rhythm, so he'll be at the All-Star Game, but he will not participate in the Home Run Derby. That's a long way of me asking you this. Are we at risk of watching this signature event go way of the NBA dunk competition, where the biggest stars decide to start sitting it out for one reason or another?
I don't necessarily think so, Gary, because each year we have this new wave of young talent that comes in and they become the next class of those sluggers, right? And think about it. I do believe the players think about this as well. If you've done it multiple times, the way Alonso has done it, Aaron Judge has done it, you don't want to hog the spot, right? They know they can always be invited if they really want to participate, but you're given a chance to a James Wood out of Washington, who has been a phenomenal talent that a lot of people haven't seen because the Nationals have been trash so far this season. Cal Raleigh, who leads the league right now in home runs, has been a one-man home run show in the first half of the season. So you're going to get some quality people in there and some quality names. I don't think it is as bad as the NBA dunk contest, at least not yet. So I'll pause on putting in that comparison right now. And the thing that hurt the NBA so much is that LeBron never did it.
Right.
And I think because he never did it, there was these other players who sort of fell in line with that, where he should have remembered that Michael Jordan, Dominique Wilkins, Dr. J, Kobe Bryant, all the other stars did it at that time, and he chose not to. And I think it set a bad precedent for guys behind him. But I don't see the home run derby falling in that line just yet.
You touched on something that I think is really interesting and important and right, which is that there's something to be like, it's very easy for Ja Morant to say, I don't want to do it if LeBron never did it. Because like, if you know, if it was beneath him, then maybe it's beneath me. I don't want to do something that he thought was beneath him. And then and then it trickles. The next thing you know, nobody, Ja Morant and nobody like Ja Morant wants to do it anymore. I really do think, and I don't want to speak for other people, but I'd like to think if I had that kind of power, I grew up watching a VHS tape of Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins in the dunk competition. Like, I had that VHS. I watched it a million times. That's a big childhood memory for me. And my kids aren't getting that with the Michael Jordans and the Dominique Wilkins. And I really do think on some level it's because it became, at least in the players' minds, a not cool thing to do or something that's beneath the superstar level of basketball players. That makes sense?
You know what it made? It almost made you cooler if you didn't do it.
Right.
And that's a shame. And how we got to that narrative in such a short period of time baffles me. I do think it was a mistake that LeBron never did it. I really do. Regardless of how great his career has been, it was a mistake that he never entered that contest. And I think it's a mistake that Ja never did it either, especially when he first got to the league, because he came into the league after those exploits at Murray State, and a lot of those highlights were dunks in games, and we know how athletic he is and the things he's done in games so far. Like, he should be in there, like Anthony Edwards should be in there, like those guys should be in at the early part of their careers. It makes sense. I'm not saying they have to do it forever. Jordan didn't do it forever, neither did Dominique, but I think you owe it to the fans for that event, for your stars to be there at some point, because it also, again, continues a precedent that is set that the biggest names and most athletic guys realize that's a showcase, and they want to be a part of it for the sake of the league.
Sticking in the NBA for a second, there's a big headline trade this morning. Norman Powell has been traded in a multi-team deal from the Clippers to the Miami Heat. The surface level understanding of this seems to be the Clippers were unsure about committing long-term to Norman Powell given his age. The other side of it is the Heat could get somebody on a one-year deal who was a borderline all-star level player this past season, a top 3 player on a playoff team. And suddenly with the East opening up because of various injuries to Jason Tatum, Damian Lillard, Tyrese Halliburton, suddenly in Miami, if you got Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, and Norman Powell, like, is that good enough to make you at least interesting in the East?
I think if you're a Heat fan, it gives you a little hope, right? Because you really haven't had anything since Jimmy Butler left in terms of another piece to help, as to your point, kind of make your way through that Eastern Conference. The thing for Norman Powell is going to be, how will he be as he was a third option in LA behind James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. Now his option maybe moves up. And he, averaged almost 22 points last year. I think he shot like 40% from 3. Will he be able to do those same type of numbers with Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo? That's the question. It's a little easier to do it with James Harden and Kawhi Leonard because they demand so much of the opposing defense that you can find those gaps. Now, clearly Norman Powell, to your point, I thought he should have been an all-star last year, the way how well he played. But this is a big opportunity to show the rest of the league just how good he is, and he can earn his next contract, whether it's in Miami or another team. And for Miami to go out there and get him for basically nothing, for Pat Riley, that's a big deal. And I guess for the Clippers, it beyond just not sure if you want to extend that type of money long-term to Norman Powell, you're also looking at your roster like, what else do we really need here? If we have 2 scorers, granted late in their career, but are still capable in Kawhi and James Harden, what can John Collins bring to us to help us get higher up those rankings in the Western Conference? You would think the way he plays the game, and he was great for the Jazz last year, he's exactly what the Clippers need at both ends of the floor, quite honestly. But with James Harden, the way he runs through double teams to be able to get some lob dunks to John Collins like that, I think it's a good addition for the Clippers. The only question is, will that also be long term?
We live in a time where people are constantly wondering, like, how much longer is LeBron James going to play? How much longer is Aaron Rodgers going to play? Well, one of those guys, more or less on a podcast, just sort of out of nowhere this weekend, kind of said, yeah, this upcoming season is my last, and that is Chris Paul. He was on a podcast and certainly suggested he will play one more season and then call it a career. Needless to say, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He was a first-team All-American in college, the Rookie of the Year. He's a 12-time All-Star, led the league in steals 6 times, assists 5 times. What is his legacy? When we look back on Chris Paul's career, he'll be called one of the great point guards of all time, but what else?
In some regards, I think he's going to be a little underrated. And I don't think people understand the value that he brought to teams every time he arrived through the majority of his career, right? When he was drafted and went to New Orleans, ended up playing in Oklahoma City, that team got better immediately when Chris Paul got there. When he went to the Clippers, that team got better immediately when he was there. He literally transformed the entire franchise of the Clippers. It wasn't Blake Griffin, it was Chris Paul. And the attitude that he brought to that team and that entire organization, he changed the entire trajectory of that organization. That was his true value, I believe, in terms of what his legacy should be in the league. He made every place he went better. And think about it, 20 years in the league, dog, that's a long time, especially for a point guard that is right about 6 feet. Right? Those guys don't last very long because it's hard for them to be effective. But Chris Paul has been effective for 2 decades in this league. Granted, his role has diminished through the years as he's gone to different teams now. But everyone on that squad is always better when they play with Chris Paul. That should be his legacy, and he absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. There's not a question about that.
I remember when that DeAndre Jordan free agency thing was going down, and they had the chair on the door, and they were like almost trapping. Like, it was just a wild free agency story. And I'm not an NBA insider, so I don't have that kind of insight. But I am friends with NBA insiders, and I remember asking one time, it seemed like everything's going pretty well in L.A. with the Clippers and Lob City and all that stuff. Why is he wanting to leave? And they said, because this is the first time I'd ever heard this, because Chris Paul wears you out. I think this was the actual answer. Why does DeAndre Jordan want to leave L.A.? And he's like, because he's tired of being cussed out by Chris Paul every day. And my understanding of Chris Paul is that he can really lean on you and make the day-to-day experience difficult. But to your point, he made every team better, or at least made most teams better. And in my own life, I tried to sort of think about this. I've had bosses who like really lean on me sometimes, and I'm like, just leave me alone. I'm doing okay. I know what I'm doing. But if I'm being honest, when you hit that boss that leans on you, it can make you better, even if it makes you uncomfortable. And I really do think he was a great example of that. He might be a teammate you don't love every day, but when you look up and look back, he might be a teammate who actually helped you become what you became. What do you make of all of that?
Here's the thing. It all depends on what player you want to be.
Right.
If you want to be great, you will lean into those who are hard on you. You think Michael Jordan wasn't hard on his teammates? You think Kobe Bryant wasn't hard on his teammates? Hell, Magic Johnson was hard on his teammates. But they're hard on the people that they see potential in that they can be better. But those guys either don't know how to be better or maybe don't have that same inner desire that those other players do, and they try to bring that desire to them. If you want to be great, Gary, you will lean into that. If you don't, then those guys will wear on you. It's all about how you receive it. And you're absolutely right. That sort of tired on DeAndre Jordan. And I will say this to DeAndre. DeAndre should have been a better player than he was based on his athleticism. He just didn't get better at certain things that would have made him an elite player. Same thing with Blake Griffin. Paul, at the beginning, were great together. Towards the end, not so much, because Chris wanted more from Blake, and Blake wasn't able to give it to him, or he didn't like the way that Chris Paul approached him about getting better. But be coached, you can be great. If not, then you're just going to be relying completely on your athleticism.
Last thing before I get you out of here, the United States and Mexico played a soccer match last night down in Houston. Sold out. It was a Gold Cup final, I gather, and the United States lost again 2-1. Now 2-6 against Mexico in Gold Cup finals the past 8 years. I understand that a lot of our important players weren't there. But what I also understand is that we're less than a year from the next World Cup. And every time I read about the United States men's national team, there's some sort of, I walk away from it going, I guess we're still disappointing in soccer. I guess we're still not doing what we're supposed to do in soccer. How should I care about what happened last night? And is there any reason to believe I'll enjoy the World Cup from an American perspective next year?
There's no reason to believe that whatsoever.
God.
The men's national team I feel like it's been undergoing a renovation for the last decade, and they keep bringing in new contractors, but they still can't get the house together. And that's just the reality of it right now, especially when you compare it to how great the women have done. And they couldn't even get paid the same as the men, and the men were, a dumpster fire just trying to get everything together. I think that I don't think you should put too much into that one game last night because you didn't have America's best players playing. But at the same time, to your point, if you are an American soccer fan of the national team, why would you have hope going into the World Cup and the World Cup qualifiers? Like really, why would you? Because everything has been like, oh, we're trying to do this. We haven't got this together. Oh, we lost to Mexico again. They just don't have it together for whatever reason. And I'm not sure what it's going to take to get that done. I do believe a lot of it's cultural. And I used to have this argument with Taylor Twellman all the time. And I said, they just don't have the best athletes in America playing soccer the way every other country in the world does. And Taylor would get upset at that. Now, Taylor was a tremendous athlete, by the way. He played basketball. He's a scratch golfer. And obviously, he was one of the best soccer players ever in America. So, like, he was that great athlete. But you just don't have the culture of America that our best athletes are going to that sport, and then you don't have the support behind it because they don't have the same attention that football and basketball do have in this country. That is just fact. Now, we have 330 million people in America. We should be able to put together a damn good soccer team for the world. But if we don't have the best of the best or the support from the fans and financially behind it, I just don't think it's going to be as great as we want it to be.
That is Michael Eaves from ESPN. Make sure you're watching him on SportsCenter, particularly this week on Wednesday when he broadcasts live from Louisville, Kentucky. You can follow him on X at Michael Eaves. That's at Michael Eaves. You're the best, buddy. Have a fun trip back home, and I'll talk to you next week.
All right, man. Be good.
I'll see you. Bye-bye. That's Michael Eaves from ESPN. We've reached this weird time in the sports calendar where Like, we go multiple months where it's like an NBA playoff game going every night.
That's right. It's like an abrupt ending.
And then it just stops.
Stuff every day.
And
yeah,
it's like, hey, what's on Apple TV Plus?
Yeah.
You know, like, we're really, oh, buddy, I've been doing some serious TV watching. But, so you get these nights, there's just sort of a certain rhythm to my household. I'm not saying anybody's household should be like this or even that this is the way mine should be. But there's a certain rhythm to it where, like, during the NBA playoffs, if we're home, like the playoff game's going to be on. We know what we're doing that night. Well, it's just going to be on the TV. Yeah. And then one of the kids will be in his room playing Fortnite, and another kid will be on the couch with us with an iPad. And, somebody will be doing laundry, and I'll be, trying to figure out 5 more things. But, like, there's a certain rhythm.
The American dream, man.
There's sort of a rhythm. Like, this is what's going to be on the big TV tonight.
Yep.
Look, it's the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander playing against Tyrese Halliburton again. Then on nights where there are Mets games, like, that's fine too. Like, okay, but there are certain days where the Mets are off, or the Mets, like yesterday, play a day game. So it's like, all right, it's 7 o'clock tonight, 6 o'clock tonight. We're working on dinner. Everybody's doing their thing. What are we going to put on the TV? And I was like, United States and Mexico's playing soccer.
Yeah.
Maybe this will be it. And I watched the pregame. It was on Fox, so it felt like a big deal. Like,
I was fired up for this.
Fox?
Yeah.
Energy Stadium down in Houston, capacity crowd. All right.
And everyone's down on the U.S., so if they win this and win the Gold Cup, beat Mexico, their rival, maybe get some good feelings back about this team.
I am not overstating it. I did not watch the game.
I watched.
But I did watch the pregame, and then I realized, at some point they're like, well, Christian's not here and nobody else is. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not watching, the second team play. We decided to do something else. But I was looking for something to, while we've got the grill going, what can we put on the television that you don't actually have to, because you can't, the way my house works, or at least the way my mind works, you can't just throw on a movie at 6:30 at night. That ain't working, because there's about to be a fist fight over here between two, and then 3 kids are going to knock on the door, and then somebody's going to want to go play Fortnite, and then the phone's going to ring, and somebody's going to take a phone call. So there's no point to it. You're really just trying to find something to put on a TV that you can walk in and out of, and it doesn't matter, right? And I was like, okay, soccer. This will be soccer tonight. And then I was like, I don't want to watch the second team. Let's find something else to do. And then I woke up this morning, I was like, but I wonder how they did. Lost again. And then I read about it because I want to have a better understanding about it. And it's just like, yeah, our best players weren't there, some of them, but we suck, and we still suck, and this is disappointing.
Yeah, the U.S. scored early, but
4 minutes in, I read that.
Yeah, but you could tell. I feel like at least you could tell that Mexico was probably the better team. Even then, and when they tied it, it was like, okay, they're about to win this thing.
Do you think they take great pride in defeating America again, given everything that's happening in this world?
Oh, maybe. I don't understand.
There were more fans from Mexico than for the United States
in America.
In the United States of America.
Yeah. I think the thing that I get hung up on with this, and I know there's all kinds of reasoning why, and it's been like this forever. I don't understand why, if we're super mid, that our best players don't play in these things. I mean, it was for the Gold Cup. I don't care, how prestigious is the trophy, whatever. Well, Mexico really wanted to win it. They're, back-to-back champs. I just don't. If we're mid in soccer, I don't understand why our best, if we want this country to buy into it and to fall in love with this team and watch every match and hope that they get better, and I don't understand why those guys don't play.
I don't know enough about it to speak intelligently on that specifically.
I know, but you want me to care?
Well, to your point, on a very the most surface level. If you have a soccer podcast, don't pay attention to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
On a very surface level, I am a great example of what you're talking about. There was nothing on TV last night. I was literally looking for something to care about on television last night while I was hanging out with my family and cooking on a grill. What can we put on and just sort of, hey, this is on. If it would have been a high-profile WNBA game, we'd have turned that on. If it had been the Mets and Sunday Night Baseball, that would have been the thing. But there was none of those things, and I was looking for something, and it was like soccer, and it was on Fox. It was accessible. And then among the first things they told me is that the players they ain't here. And I was like, well, then I'm out. You'd have had me. If the players I know were there, now I don't know very many, but if the players I know were there, if you would have come on and said, this is very important, so important, that if this were a World Cup match tonight, this is the roster you would see playing. I'd be like, okay, let's check this out. But that's not what we get. And I know there's reasons that we do not get it, but the fact that we don't get it, whatever the reasons, it diminishes from the product because I turned it on and then turned it off. I turned it on wanting to care and then decided, well, this is like the B team. I don't care about like watching the B team. Click. I didn't care. That's an issue. As for why they can't figure it out, again, surface level stuff, I just know that I started playing soccer when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And that 4 decades ago. And I'm telling you, since I was a kid, this is something people would say, well, look around. See all these kids playing soccer? Let all these kids grow up. And, well, that's how you do it. It starts here. First thing you got to do is get every 4-year-old in America playing soccer. And then, yeah, most of them will become non-soccer players, probably by the time they're 8. But the best of the best will keep going, and the best of the best will then be the best, and that's how America wins World Cup someday. I've been saying this for 4 decades. Nothing's gotten better. It's arguably gotten worse. I mean, it certainly ain't gotten better in any sort of meaningful way.
No, I mean, best I can tell, everyone's super down on this World Cup next year in America.
So the question becomes, why? Why? And again, this is all surface level stuff, but every 6-year-old in America kicks a soccer ball at some point.
That's right.
All right.
Mine are doing it, yeah.
So it's not like the sport isn't accessible. Like everybody is playing soccer. Everybody kicks a soccer ball. I know it's more accessible in the suburbs and the inner cities. I'm not lost on that. But like we have a bunch of people playing soccer.
Yeah.
All right. And we do not produce elite soccer players. Do you know what that tells me? We're not doing it right. We're not doing it right.
We need to adopt the European model.
Just
saying?
to do it,
Yeah.
we're not doing it right. I am the parent of somebody of multiple children who play youth sports. Let me tell you what you realize pretty quickly. It's a lot of games and very little practice. A lot of games and very little practice. I was actually talking to a guy I went to high school with a few weeks ago. His daughter was at a softball practice, a field adjacent to my son at a baseball practice. So we're standing in between the fields and we're just talking. And he was talking about his son. And he was like, I think I'm not going to let my kid play winter ball. Because we now live in an area where, and we'll get to this in 5 more things, because I can tie all this together. We now live in an area where the good baseball players play baseball 12 months a year. You play baseball 12 months a year. I was an okay baseball player when I was a kid, but I played all the way through high school. I never played in the winter. Never.
Yeah, it was a seasonal thing.
You played the summer, and then when it was over, you really might not pick up a baseball for months. How about this? I was a high school baseball player, and there were weeks where I didn't pick up a baseball. There is never a week where my 8-year-old does not pick up a baseball. Never anymore. Never. All right? But we play a lot of games and very little practice. So I'm talking to my buddy from high school. He's like, I don't think I'm going to let my son. I think I'm just going to let him play basketball or do something different in the winter just because I'm scared of him getting burned out on baseball. And I'm like, are you worried about him missing time? He was like, how much time is he really going to miss? They're going to play like 4 tournaments. They're going to practice once and then play. They're going to practice 1 time for every 5 games they play. Can I just take him to a bat? Can I just put him in a cage and pitch to him and twice a week and get the same type of work done that they're going to get playing winter ball? I was like, yeah, probably. But these are it's a lot of playing and not much practice. And though my little guys aren't in soccer to that degree, I gather it's very similar. It's a lot of playing and not as much practicing. And I know in Europe, whether it's soccer or anything else, that is not the way they do it. Basketball's the same way. Do you want to know why all these French players are getting drafted? American players aren't? Why the MVP's an international player every year? Like every year? I mean, there's a lot of different reasons. But a basketball player growing up in France is going to practice every day and play very little relative to what American basketball players do, which is play all the time and barely practice at all. Like you get an EYBL team, they'll practice on a Wednesday and then go to a tournament on Thursday and then play 2 games on Friday, 2 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday. They'll practice once and then play 6 games. I think it's backwards. You should be practicing more than you play. Oh, and that's true in anything. Golf course, there's this, I was going to say little girl. When I first met her, she was a little girl. I guess she's getting older now. She's a teenager, I assume. She's out at the practice range at the golf course every day. You ready for this? I've never seen her play golf. I've never seen her on the actual golf course. You know when she sees me, if she even knows who I am, if ever somebody says, you ever see so-and-so out there? She'll say, oh, yeah, I see him for about 10 minutes on the range. And then he goes straight to the first tee. That's it. I warm up for 10 minutes, then I go play. I play all the time. I never practice. I play all the time. You want to know why I never get better?
Because you don't practice.
Well, I'm old and limited in my ability. But, like,
old guys are good at golf, too.
She practices. I've never seen her not practicing. She just practices all the time. And you know what she is? Amazing. Amazing. I've never actually seen her on the golf course, but I see her all the time, just on the range, just hitting balls, practicing. That's how you become great at something. You practice it. You don't play it. You practice it. And I think in soccer and most youth sports in America, we play too much. We don't practice enough. And it's a parent problem. We like competition. We like to say little Johnny won, little Susie won.
Yeah.
We like the games. We don't like the practices.
Well, it's going to cost you a World Cup.
As for the athleticism thing, I think there is something to that. Like if you just took Russell Westbrook when he was 7 years old and said,
made him a soccer player,
what would that look like?
Yeah.
Derrick Rose. Like I get that. But I've heard other soccer people say, we're not really getting out-athleted. You know, Argentina's not out-athleting us.
Yeah, when I watch, I do not think that.
We get out-skilled.
Yeah, when you're watching that last night, I'm not like, oh my God, they're just so much more athletic than the American players.
Yeah,
no.
So I think both these things can be true. Are our best athletes playing soccer? No. But is the reason we suck at soccer on an international level because we're getting out-athleted by Mexico and Argentina? Like, is Switzerland out-athleting us?
No.
Like, so is athleticism really the problem? I just don't think we're doing it the right way. And it seems crazy that 40 years ago, we thought that we had it figured out, and we've gained nothing, at least nothing of note. I mean, we're less than a year from the World Cup, and it's like, Michael Eaves, that guy who hosts Sports Center, he said, no, there's no reason for you to be excited about it.
Damn.
You know? Like, we're not doing it right. I'm not pretending I have all the answers, but I would stop doing it the way we're doing it and start looking at the successful countries and figure out how they do it, because we're 40 years into. Just wait till GP gets old enough.
Right.
Look at me.
Yeah.
All right? When I was a kid, they told me soccer was just around the corner.
You were going to be the next. Well, you were the Pele of Horn Lake
I was the
for
Pele
a second.
Of Horn Lake,
yeah.
But I never thought it would go much further than that.
Right.
You know? But, like, somebody should have become the Pele of America.
I know.
Why
didn't anyone think of that?
I only wanted to become the Pele of Horn Lake.
Yeah.
Somebody else should have had bigger dreams and better ability to become the Pele of America. We still don't have it. We still don't have it. It's disappointing. I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what to do about it.
I don't either. I don't have the answers.
I don't have the answers. I don't know what to do about it. I just know that I'd like to be proud of my United States men's national team.
I would too.
And I just rarely am.
I would too. Maybe we turn this thing around before
Since
the
that
World
one
Cup.
time, the last time I remember being proud of the United States men's national team is old what's his name stopped like 40 shots in the World Cup. Remember what's his name?
Who, Tim Howard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember he did all that?
That was sick. That was a good time.
That was the best
and he's
time.
a legend of U.S. soccer at this point.
He's a legend. That's the last time I remember caring or being happy. The last time I remember the United States men's national team making me happy was when Tim Howard just blocked a bunch of shots. Since then, it's been all downhill.
We got to be better. I think we got like a year to turn this thing around. So before this World Cup. So
we've had 4 decades and haven't been able to do it. So
all right. Well, let's get some people in a room after last night.
Yeah, let's get some people in a room.
We got a year. Okay, we can do this.
Let's get some people in a room.
Yeah.
And figure this out.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Moving on. Thank God. Moving on.
Okay.
The Major League Baseball All-Star teams were announced this weekend. Would it surprise you to know 2 Memphis area players were named position players?
How about that?
All-Stars. I have touched on this before. We like to think of ourselves as a basketball city. We're really a baseball city. I'll prove it to you next.
What can the Memphis Grizzlies learn from the Thunder Pacers NBA Finals Series?
Your style of play is not something that you really have to change. Both of these teams love to play fast. Both of these teams love to play really aggressively on the defensive side of the ball.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. And that's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays, in the evenings, and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Major League Baseball All-Star teams were announced this weekend, and not one, but two Memphis area natives were named Major League Baseball All-Stars. One for the first time in his career, another for the second. Congrats to ECS graduate Brent Rooker and Arlington High graduate Hunter Goodman, both named position player All-Stars this weekend. Think about this. So All-Star teams, 32 players, 20 position players, 12 pitchers. So 40 position players. Entire Major League Baseball, 40 position players were named All-Stars. And 2 of them from right here in the Memphis area. One of them a Mississippi State Bulldog, the other a Memphis Tiger. We're a baseball town.
I love it.
We're a baseball town.
That is cool that we got a Memphis Tiger in there.
Well, think about this. We like to think of ourselves as a basketball city because that is what we care about most. I guess football, you could just say, football,
everyone cares about football. Yeah.
But we like to think of ourselves as a basketball city. We have an NBA franchise. We have a prominent college basketball program. We have EYBL events that are here. We have a interesting high school scene. We like to think of ourselves as a basketball city.
It's as interesting as it used to be.
It's definitely not as interesting as it used to be.
Right.
Not even
that
close.
used to be a big deal when I was growing up. Yep.
Well, now the players get out of here. Sometimes.
Yeah, they go to prep schools. Or the great ones, yeah.
Yeah, like not to get off track, but I remember.
I know, sorry.
I remember talking to people, let's just say in basketball circles, and they said one of the big issues going forward, this was years ago, like NIL and transfer waivers and the transfer portal has changed the way recruiting is done. So what I'm about to say doesn't even really apply anymore. But there was a point in time where you were still largely, as a college basketball program, trying to build your rosters with high school players. And I remember people suggesting that most of the better high school because when I was first entering this profession, if you were talking about the great high school basketball players in Memphis, they were at East.
Yeah, White Station, Raleigh, Egypt.
Hamilton, BTW. All right? You know where they started playing in the past 10, 15 years? Lausanne, St. George's, Briarcrest, ECS. And I had a parent tell me this one time. I have worked very hard to get my son out of the inner city and get him into a private school. And so, long story not so long, people assumed this would damage Memphis recruiting because once you get into the private school in the suburbs and you're not in the city anymore, going back into the city, into the University of Memphis was going to be a harder ask than it might have been to get somebody to go from BTW or Hamilton or Melrose straight to the University of Memphis. So like if you're Memphis and you're recruiting a Kennedy Chandler, it's better for you if he's coming from a city school than if he's coming from a private school because his eyes have been opened to a bigger world. And for decades, Memphis relied on getting Memphis area players out of the city of Memphis. But the best basketball players, at least a lot of them, were now going to school in the suburbs and then not actually coming back to the city of Memphis to enroll at the University of Memphis. But that's a topic for another day. Major League Baseball All-Stars.
Yes.
Think about this. So Brent Rooker just became an All-Star for the second time. All right, he's a two-time NBA All-Star.
MLB, yeah.
MLB All-Star. Mike Conley's a one-time NBA All-Star, and he's a legend in the city forever.
That's right.
Brent Rooker's now made more All-Star teams in his profession than Mike Conley has in his profession, right? Hunter Goodman now a one-time All-Star. Think about basketball players from Memphis. We like to think of ourselves as a basketball city. Start trying to name basketball players from the Memphis area who went on to be NBA All-Stars. I'll help you, Penny Hardaway.
Ooh. I was going to say, I don't think Dad was ever an All-Star.
No.
It's one.
It's like not many. I mean, do you want to count Mark Gasol because he went to school at Lausanne?
I count him.
Oh, let's count him then.
I'll count him.
But it's like Penny Hardaway, Mark Gasol. Like Derrick Rose became an All-Star, but he's from Chicago. He went to school at Memphis. Larry Keenan became an NBA All-Star, played at Memphis, but he's from Birmingham, Alabama. Like people who grew up here and became NBA All-Stars. There aren't many.
No.
Now do it with baseball. You want to go way back? Charlie Lee, Tim McCarver. I want to go more recent? Zach Cozart, Drew Pomeranz, Austin Riley, and this just here. Brent Rooker, Hunter Goodman. We have Major League Baseball All-Stars all over the place.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, like we and do you want to know why? To circle back to what we were talking about with soccer. Because the best baseball players in this area are playing baseball 12 months a year. I bet you, I'm just making up a number here, but there are hundreds of 8-year-olds in the area right now who are practicing baseball every week, 52 weeks a year. This is not true in other parts of the country. It's true in some parts of the country, but it's especially true in this part of the country. Now, I want to be clear. Let's just put a number. Let's just say there's 300 8-year-olds playing what we call competitive baseball in the Memphis area right now. I don't even know if that's a good number. Let's call it 200, all right?
Okay.
But they're playing and what that means is they're going somewhere every weekend and playing baseball, practicing a couple times a week. Some of them got hitting lessons, pitching lessons, but there's hundreds of 8-year-olds playing baseball 12 months a year right now. All right, by the time we're 12, that's going to be sliced to like 100. And by the time they're 15, it's going to be sliced to like 60, all right? Most of these kids are not going to amount to anything as it pertains to baseball players. They're just going to be exactly like me. They're going to be somebody who has some nice stories and memories to tell and to hold on to. But like, what did it ever amount to? Oh, nothing. Except that one time I played against this one guy who went to the big leagues, and this other time I played with these two guys who went to the big leagues. But your story probably ends with you doing something other than playing baseball. But some of them are going to pop. There is an... I was at a baseball tournament in Tupelo a few weeks ago. Like that was the last one I was at, right? The next Austin Riley was somewhere in there. All right, maybe. The next Hunter Goodman. The next Brent Rooker. I don't know who they are. But like they're probably there somewhere. Most of those kids will amount to nothing, but like if you take somebody who has the natural ability that you need, the physical tools that go along with it, and then they have a passion for it, the right mindset, and then from the age of 6, you're putting a bat in their hand every day, a ball and a glove in their hand every day, well, then this is the type of stuff that happens. We have a community that I think irrationally emphasizes baseball, baseball, baseball at a young age. We don't talk about it a lot because it's not what we care about in the city, like football and basketball. But I promise you, you work with somebody, you went to school with somebody, you live down the street from somebody whose kid is playing baseball every weekend like my kid is playing baseball. I think it's irrational. I don't think it's good. If we could just ban all of it and start playing in our neighborhoods again, I think that's better. To get up every morning on a weekend and drive an hour and a half to watch little kids play baseball, I mean, this is not an exaggeration. There'll be a team from South Haven and a team from Hernando, and they'll be playing each other in Tupelo. Why couldn't we just do this in South Haven or Hernando?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we all getting up and driving an hour and a half to play baseball? It's all irrational, illogical, except for it's big business, and so it's got turned into big business, all right? I don't like the way we do it, but the byproduct is this. We're producing Major League Baseball All-Stars, and we have 2 on the rosters this year. So congratulations to them, and that'll be among the reasons to turn it on next week. You'll see 2 people from this area participating in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game.
Number 2.
So Summer League's underway. We talked about it earlier, but this
Love
was
Summer League.
This was interesting to me. Did you see this headline about this rule change that they're testing? Okay. So I initially misread it. And it was like, this is going to be a new rule in the NBA. And I reread it. It's like, no, it's just for Summer League. They're testing it. And if it tests well or tests to whatever they want it to test to, it could be implemented in actual regular season someday. It's just a statistical thing, but it is something I've noticed for a long time. Here's the deal. End of quarter heaves. So you know what we're talking about. Into the first quarter, into the second quarter, into the third quarter.
Yep.
Ball's inbounded. So let's just say, let's make it real life. The Thunder and the Grizzlies are playing in FedEx Forum. It's the end of the first quarter. Jalen Wells, let's pretend he's on the court, lays a ball in to make it 28-27 Thunder with 2 seconds to go. Santi Aldama grabs the ball. Somebody grabs the ball. Inbounds it to John Morant. He's at half court and just launches and misses. That is a missed three-point attempt in the box score for John Morant.
Mm-hmm.
If he had not taken a three-pointer yet in this game, he would now be 0 of 1. And he would be 0 of 1 because he missed a final second heave at the end of the first quarter. What you'll notice is that sometimes the John Morants, they won't even take that shot because they don't want it to impact their three-point percentages.
Their numbers, yeah.
We're already hyper-focused on their numbers. So why am I going to take a low percentage shot from half court or three-quarters court and mess up my three-point percentage? So I'll just hold the ball. I'll just eat it. So what the NBA has decided is that actually takes what should be or could be
some excitement,
out of the game. It takes excitement out of the game. It's really cool to see somebody hit a three-quarters court shot at the buzzer. But players stop taking them because they don't want to mess up their three-point percentage.
Mm-hmm.
So what the NBA is trying in the Summer League is if you take a heave, and it's very specific about what it is, a heave, to be classified that way, it has to be in the final 3 seconds of a quarter, first, second, or third. They don't do it at the fourth because, in theory, the only reason you'd be taking a shot at the end of that quarter is if it actually could mean something.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you just dribble it out. So it's not going to impact the end of games. But at the end of first, second, third, it's got to be in the final 3 seconds, and it's got to be launched from at least 36 feet away, and the possession has to start in the backcourt. So it can't be one of those timeout, advance it, now we're just going to take a heave because we can't get a good shot off. That's a field goal attempt. But if it's just, as I described, Santi throws into Ja, Ja looks at the clock, got to let it go. If he misses it, it will not count against him. I haven't seen real clarification on it, but the implication seems to be if he were to make it, they would count that as a made three-point attempt, and it would be a field goal attempt and a made three-point attempt for John Morant. But if he were to miss it, it just goes team field goals, and it doesn't reflect negatively on John Morant's three-point percentage. This is a thing that I've thought about before. I've never actually thought about it enough to be like, and here's the way you fix it. But it's like, this is a real problem because I just watched somebody hold a ball that he should have thrown. And if he would have made it, that would have been exciting, but he won't even try it because he cares more about his individual statistics, which I understand because, like, you do get paid off of this stuff and discussed off of this stuff. So I get it. But it's like, that's not good. So why don't we fix that? And here's a very obvious way to fix it. Hey, Ja or anybody else, throw this ball at the rim. We just want the opportunity for excitement. We want the opportunity for a highlight. And if you miss it, it will not negatively impact you at all. So take the shot.
I like it.
I like it too. I hope they do implement it to the regular season because it should end the pattern of players refusing to shoot at the end of quarters because they think it's just going to be a miss and it's just going to, hey, right now I'm 1 of 3 from the field. If I don't take this 60-footer, I'll still be 0 of 3 from the field going into the second quarter. But if I launch it right now, I'll be 1 of 4, whatever. All right? So like my percentage will be better if I just hold this ball, so I'm going to eat it and let the clock expire. That's not good that's not exciting.
No,
so this fixes it.
Jacob sent me something interesting. There is a list of players shots from heave zone in 2025. If this rule was implemented this past season, Jokic would have gone from 41.7% to 44.8% from 3 because he missed 23 heaves last year.
Okay, but he still takes them.
He still takes them.
Because he doesn't care.
Right.
Other people don't even take them because they don't want to go from being a 44 3-point shooter to a 41. Or let's do it better. Like, we get caught up on this 40% number. That's like the standard. Like, that's like, woo, 40. He shot 40%.
Yeah.
So just take Jokic's number. What if he never takes a heave, never attempts one, he's a 40% 3-point shooter? But if he takes them, because, like, why not? We're trying to score. We're trying to win a game. He goes down to a 37% free throw shooter. Like, it just sounds different. I know it is what it is, and I know you just explained it. But there are men out there who don't even attempt the shot because they don't want that to happen to them. Well, this removes that. Yeah. Take the shot. We're not going to. It can only help you if you make it. It's a made 3. If you miss it, it's a nothing. It's like you're at the fair. How much does it cost to take a shot here? Oh, nothing. Just take a shot for free. You might win something. Okay, I'll take it. How much did it well, this could cost you $10 and you probably won't make it. Well, then I'll just skip that. Yeah. This will cost you nothing. You probably won't make it, but you might, and it could be awesome. All right, free shot. I'll take a free shot. It's just you're giving free shot. You know where else they should do this? Different sport. Hail Marys. Should be the same thing. Why when Patrick Mahomes drops back to the 50 and just the entire mindset of a quarterback is to put the ball where it needs to be, don't take unnecessary risk, don't throw it to the other team. And then these same quarterbacks are asked at the end of a half or the end of a game,
just chunk it.
Just throw it in the air and see what happens. And like Patrick Mahomes has interceptions tied to that. Aaron Rodgers has interceptions tied to that. Why not just same sentiment? We want you trying these. You don't want to see Patrick Mahomes take a knee at the 45. Man, throw it as far as you can. This is fun. But you need to make it where, hey, you got nothing to lose. Because why has Patrick Mahomes got to get an interception on his record, in his box score, when he was just throwing a ball in the air to see what would happen? It's no different it's little different, apples to oranges, I guess, because it's different sports, but you get the point. Here's a thing we wouldn't normally do. We're only doing it because the clock's about to expire. But there's some thought that I might not do it because I don't want to mess up my individual stats. Well, what if we tell you it won't mess up your stats? Patrick Mahomes, throw it to the end zone. It's a Hail Mary. And if you complete it, that's a touchdown. And if you don't, it's a team it's a team incompletion. But it doesn't count against you. If it's a interception, it doesn't count against you. Same sentiment. I like that.
I like it too.
I like anything that adds excitement and doesn't give people reasons to shy away from it. The stats counting against you gave NBA players a reason not to do these heaves.
Right.
This gives them no reason not to heave the ball. So heave away. Some of them will go in, and then we'll celebrate them and watch them go viral.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds great to me.
Number 3.
Bradley Beal is reportedly in the process of trying to figure out what might make sense for him as a free agent under the assumption that he is finally bought out by the Phoenix Suns this offseason because they cannot find a trade that is suitable to him. And he's one of only 2 players in the NBA with a no-trade clause, incredibly. Let's look a funny trivia question to me. Who are the 2 players in the NBA with no trade clauses? LeBron James
and Bradley Beal.
And Bradley Beal. And
What an agent, man.
What an agent. And so they haven't been able to move him.
All right.
Because every deal they can possibly get for him, he says, no, I don't want to go there. And the places he does want to go, they clearly can't get a deal done. So reportedly, the Suns are going to meet this week early, like could be any minute, and are going to make a decision. And Bradley Beal is operating under the assumption that decision will be to buy him out of his $110 million left on his contract, which is 2 years. 2 years, 110, that's what they are.
Okay.
So once he's bought out, he will find himself in a very similar situation to Damian Lillard in the sense that he can go wherever he wants to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Bradley Beal's name is like stained now. It's like,
I mean, it without question is. Everyone thinks you're not a winning player.
Well, everybody just thinks you're on this massive contract and, and you're overpaid and you can't help anybody win. And you are the Suns tried to get KD to the next level by bringing you in, and that was a disaster. And it's all based on how much money he makes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize Bradley Beal next season could be a 32-year-old who just averaged 17 points while shooting 50% from the field and 39% from three? He could be a 32-year-old with those numbers, flawed defensively, I got it. Flawed across the board, I got it. But here's my point. You could sign him to a 1-year, $3 million contract. Who would you rather have, Jock Landale or Bradley Beal? You want Jack Landale or Bradley Beal? My point is that the price tag's similar.
Yeah.
But you're getting so Bradley Beal is going to be flipped. Like everything about him could theoretically change. He goes from being the face of too overpaid, no trade, you're the worst.
That's a good point.
To now he can pick his spot, sign a veteran minimum for his years of service is going to be like $3.9 million. And now he could be coming off your bench, 32 years old. Just average 70 points per game.
No, he's not going to come off your
bench. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. I'm just saying you can.
He's not going to agree to that.
It's the same thing with Damian Lillard. And, like, there's some thought about Dame, should he do it this offseason or wait till next season? But Damian Lillard can really do this. It's an interesting situation he finds himself in. Completely bought up by Milwaukee. They're stretching it, but that didn't really have much to do with Damian Lillard. Here's the point you need to know. Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, both expected to make like $54 million in that range next year. They get that money no matter what. All right? And in these contracts, there's offset clauses. I know it's in Damian's. I read it specifically about his, where you go sign a new deal with your new team, and your new team pays you whatever they agree to pay you, and then your old team just pays the difference. Well, I guess if you're the Bucks, you would hope that Damian Lillard would go sign a real contract with a real team, but there's no incentive to do it. He should just tell anybody. Like, if I'm Damian Lillard, here's what I'm doing. I'm not doing anything right now. I'm just going to collect my $50+ million from the Bucks, rehab on my own, go back home and be around my kids. All right? Live back in Portland, be around my kids, rehab on my own. And then I'm going to look up next July, and I'm going to go, okay, I want to win a title. Where's the best place where I'm the missing piece to win a title? Where is the place where when I say this is where I'm going, they say we're the favorites to win the title or among the favorites to win the title? And I'm going to go there for the veterans minimum. And my new team will pay me like $3-4 million, whatever the veteran minimum is, like $4 million for him. And the Bucks will have to pay the rest of this. But either way, I get all the money. So all the money comes into your bank no matter what. You're getting $50+ million into your bank no matter what. It's just a matter of where is it coming from. There's no incentive to make your new team pay you a penny more than they have to because they can use that money somewhere else. So there's no incentive to not make your old team pay you every penny that they have to because who cares? So he can just hand-pick his spot. Damian Lillard, if you have to pay him $55 million at his age coming off a ruptured Achilles, I don't want anything to do with that. That's why the Bucks couldn't trade his contract. But Damian Lillard, after a year off for $4 million, I mean, that is really like you see the Lakers and the other franchises just making these little veteran minimum moves, but you don't get a player like Damian Lillard or a player like Bradley Beal too often for those for that amount of money. But that's what we're about to get with these two players. Like that's interesting situations.
It really is.
They can just sort of hand pick where they want to be because who wouldn't want them at $4 million?
Right, like all
want them at 50.
Bad we just laid out. It's like
you
who
don't
cares?
want them at 50, but you want them at. Why wouldn't you want them at 4? You don't want to be the team paying them $50 million at this age, but would you pay them $4? Bradley Beal at $4 million is a great bar.
Maybe we should make a call.
But here's the thing: probably wouldn't want to come here.
He's not going to come here.
It is fine. Like you start asking people, like, so why is he never? And I give him an immense amount of credit. He has been stronger than I would be in the face of real public pressure. Because in Washington first, on some level, and then certainly in Phoenix, they're like, you need to void your no trade or waive your no trade. And he's like, no, this was negotiated in for a reason. He has 3 sons. He's like, he hasn't said this explicitly, but the prevailing thought is,
I want to live with my family and then go where I go.
I care more about where my family lives and me being where my family is than I care about winning basketball at this point in my career. Evidence that that's true is just look at his actions. He's been on a losing team. They've been trying to trade him, in some cases to a better team. And he has consistently said, no, I'm not moving my family for that. That's not good enough. He prefers warm weather locations and, yes, a winning situation, but he has made a dig your heels in. I am not going to move my family just to move my family. Just because you guys decided you don't want me anymore after you traded for me. Just because you guys decided I'm not worth this contract anymore. Hate me if you want to. Boo me if you want. Like his wife said last season at a Suns game, like the fans were heckling Bradley Beal so bad that his son started crying at the game. His son's at the game watching his dad, and he's hearing so much negative stuff about his dad that he started crying. That's how ugly it got there. And I'm the type, I'd be like, let's just get at it. My mindset is like, if you don't want us here, we'll get out of here. I'm like, I'll never talk to you again. I'm more like that. But he's like, no, this is big picture, man. I'm raising my sons. They got friends. They like the Phoenix area. The weather's great. It sucks that you guys don't want me here, and it sucks that we're not very good, but I'm not uprooting my family. Just because you guys made what you now believe is a bad basketball decision. I like that about him. I don't know that I would be strong enough to just stand up and be this firm in this situation, but he's held firm. It doesn't mean that there's no trade out there ever, but they've been working on one and they can't get it done. And so it now looks like they're probably just going to buy him out to be done with it, and he'll get to handpick his next team. And I won't be surprised if you look up in the playoffs next season and Bradley Beal is playing a meaningful role for a playoff team.
Pick a good team.
Because he's going to pick a good team, and he'll go there for little money, and he'll have a role on that team. And similarly, whether it's, I guess it probably wouldn't be this season no matter what because he's not going to play. But July 2026, we'll be having a conversation about Damian Lillard. He's going to be a part. We ain't seen him in a while, but reportedly the rehab went great. And now he costs very little money to this new team, and he could be the missing piece to a title. Those stories are going to be – Bradley Beal and Damian Lillard will play meaningful playoff games again, in part because they have been bought out of big contracts, or at least Dame has and Beal seems on his way to, and are going to be able to take advantage of these incredibly unique situations where I'm still getting all the money that's promised to me, but I only have to take a little bit of it from my new team, and therefore my new team will want me because they think I can be the missing piece on a small salary to winning a championship. It's a nice place to be. Nobody wants to have a ruptured Achilles or be hated in Phoenix, but those two men have incredible career decision opportunities in front of them that men like them haven't had very often in the history of professional sports.
Number 4.
Scarlett Johansson.
How about that?
Highest grossing movie star of all time, based off of the launch of Jurassic World Rebirth, which is a blockbuster. I saw you already went and saw it.
I went and saw it this weekend.
Two thumbs up. You approve or disapprove?
Oh, I had a good time. It was fun. It was fun. You know, I'd say it's upper tier Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, but it's not like it ain't gonna win any awards or anything.
Not gonna win any awards.
No. It was fine. It was a fun time at the movies.
I was going to go see it with my family. Remember me telling you that?
It's worth going to see, I would say.
Yeah, and then we left here on Wednesday, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go see it with my family too. And then I went straight to the golf course. And then at some point I checked in. I was like, so what's going on? And they were like, yeah, we're headed to the movies.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, and then in fairness, I had a choice. I could have left the golf course and went to the movies. Don't want to do that. But I haven't seen it yet. But my family said they enjoyed it.
They said enjoyed it good.
They didn't say it's going to win an Oscar. But they did say they enjoy it, and it looks like a lot of people are enjoying it because it is doing big numbers.
Big numbers.
Let me just update you. Scarlett Johansson, in films where she has been the lead or played a prominent character, they have now amassed at worldwide box offices $14.85 billion.
So she's, I mean,
Would the normal person know that? Not today, because it's a big headline everywhere today.
Right.
So everybody's going, I mean, if you live online, you're probably going to bump into this at some point today. Before today, do people know this? Do people, because if you'd have asked me last week, in terms of box office revenue, who's the biggest movie star of all time? I think I would have just been like, I don't know, Tom Cruise. I'd have said something like Tom Cruise. And if you'd have said, no, it's actually Scarlett Johansson, I'd have said, how'd that happen? Now, we know how it happened, right? It's all these superhero movies.
All the Marvel movies,
Yes.
yeah, and she was in a lot of them. And they all did really well. So that's the biggest thing.
What I gather from the list of the highest grossing people in the history of box office is you'd better been in you ain't sniffing that unless you've been in a superhero movie.
And not only that, all the ones that she was in, like she was in the Avengers movies, obviously, because she's an Avenger. She was in, she was in Captain America, Civil War. She was in Winter Soldier. So she was in like a lot of the big ones that did really well, right? You know, some of them don't do as good as others. Pretty much all the Marvel movies she's been in did really well at the box office. She's done some Disney stuff.
She did The Jungle Book.
She's done the Sing series, which is big with kids.
She did Lucy.
Yeah,
that was big.
She was in a Transformers movie. That's a big franchise as well. So she's been in some of these. The reason that I respect the hell out of her and I'm a big fan of hers is because, she's done all these big blockbuster films and stuff like that, but she's been in Wes Anderson movies and Coen Brother movies. You know, she is Spike Jonze. Like, she's done.
Who doesn't like Scarlett Johansson?
Right. She does. I thought that Marriage Story movie that was on Netflix a couple years ago, she's amazing in that. Like, she's done other stuff that's different from your average, like, blockbuster summer box office type movie. So I'm a big fan of Scarlett Jo. And she was good in Jurassic World. I thought she was really good in that.
I think everybody loves. So here's the other highest grossing actors of all time. Samuel L. Jackson.
Same thing, because he was in all the good Marvel movies.
But then he also gets Pulp Fiction, and so he can check both the boxes, right?
Long career, yep.
Robert Downey Jr.
Same thing.
Zoe Saldana.
She was in some Marvel. She was in Guardians of the Galaxy, but also Avatar. That was the big one for her. Yeah, Avatar is big for her.
But then has also done like the award-winning stuff.
That's right.
Right. So, and then Chris Pratt. Same thing.
Same thing, yeah. Marvel and Jurassic World.
Yeah. It's all the same. Like, you just got to be in these movies.
You got to be in the big franchise movies. That's right.
Well, congrats to Scarlett Johansson. That's quite an accomplishment, right?
Yeah. I as far as like the Jurassic World, again, I thought it was fun time at the movies. I don't know how many more times we can do this. I'm just being honest with you.
You're starting to question it.
Well, it's the same formula. It's like,
man,
we got to go back.
Yeah.
There's dinosaurs on the island, and we got to go back for some reason, and now we got to escape.
And then at some point, it's like, oh, shit, we shouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how you do it again, because they did like one of them where the dinosaurs escaped and were in the city, and they had to go wrangle them all up. But like that one didn't that good.
Oh, let me tell you. I'll tell you how they can do it again.
Yeah, what can they do? I mean, how can you make this unique?
Oh, you're asking different questions. You're asking. I thought you said, how can they do it again?
Mm-hmm.
Now you're asking, how do you make it unique? Two totally different questions.
Yeah, how do you do it again? You just go get another big name star and send them to the island,
Yeah.
right?
No, here's what I'm just told you how you do it again. Here's how you do it again. You walk into a studio head's office and you say, yeah, opening weekend we made $318 million. And they say, okay, do it again then.
And that's what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
There will be more Jurassic World.
How do we make it unique? Oh, you ready for this? You don't even have to make it again.
Mm-hmm.
That really is movie making today.
It is.
Make it again. You don't have to make it unique.
Love it.
They touch on this. Did you ever watch The Studio? You up on The Studio?
I haven't.
Bennett, I'm disappointed.
I know.
It's fine.
I know.
You know what? I take that back. I don't like it when people put television pressure on me.
No, it should be like the top of my list.
Sometimes people
alley.
put television pressure on me, and I'm like, relax. I'm trying to get to it. All right.
Yeah.
I'm trying. And then here I do. I turn around and put television pressure on you. I shouldn't have done that. I apologize.
Appreciate it.
But The Studio touches on this. At one point, like there's two different people working in the studio, and they're sort of rivals, and they're trying to make what is clearly a newer, updated version of like this. Like, hey, here's a horror movie that worked, and one person is like, and I have a new, awesome, smart, innovative, young twist on it with this young filmmaker, and this is going to be great. And the other person's like, yeah, I have another guy who's done 50 of these. And I don't know if it'll be great, but I know that it'll do $318 million in box office on opening weekend. So what do we do here? Do we want to take a chance to make the great movie, or do we just want to do the thing we know that works? So how do they make a new Jurassic Park? Because this one just did $318 million.
Just do it.
Oh, there's another one coming, baby.
We like dinosaurs.
I don't know who's going to be in it, and I don't know that the story's going to be any good, but there's another one coming. Congrats to Scarlett Johansson.
Congrats to Scarlett Johansson.
That's an awesome trivia question.
Yeah, who's the highest grossing actor of all time?
As of this moment, the correct answer is Scarlett Johansson.
Let's see what she's got coming up. Nothing that I'm familiar with.
Well, she deserves a break.
She deserves a break.
I think she deserves a break. I mean, I've seen her on Saturday Night Live, and now I see her in the Jurassic movie. I think she deserves a break. Spend some quality time with her husband, Colin Jost, the great Colin Jost.
Yeah.
I think they should just spend some time together and relax a little bit.
Yeah, enjoy that money.
She deserves it.
Number 5.
Was this the worst story in the world?
Dude, yeah, the worst.
The worst. Floods in Texas. Flash floods. And now more than 80 people are confirmed dead.
80.
More than 80 confirmed dead, many of whom are children who were at a summer camp on the river. And the numbers are going to grow. We're still looking for people
missing, yep.
And we might find them all, but we're not going to find them all alive. So these numbers will grow. Man, this one hit me bad because my youngest son, was just at a summer camp exactly like this 2 weeks ago.
Oh, like the go away summer camp? Yeah.
There's a camp down in Oxford, I guess, called Camp Lake Stevens. Apparently it's been there forever. It just shows you how my childhood is so different than my children's childhoods. Like, I was talking to some friends that I grew up with about this, and they were like, oh, yeah, I went to Camp Lake Stevens when I was a kid. And I was like, well, we're the same age. We grew up in the same place. How'd you go? I never even heard of this place. Going away to summer camps was just not something. Yeah. It just wasn't on my radar
Camp
at all.
Ozark was a big one in this part of the country.
Just not something
forever.
It wasn't introduced to me. None of my friends did it. We just didn't come from the place where I guess kids went to summer camp. I don't know. It just was never even something that I thought about. But my kids have gone, and they go to different ones, but they have gone to Camp Lake Stevens, and my little guy was just there a couple weeks ago. With 4 or 5 kids from his baseball team. It was just sweet. You go down there and you stay in cabins and you're in the woods, and this one's not this one's not on a river, but it's on a lake. And so you get out on the lake and you're just out. You're not on iPads.
Right.
Like my little guy went to it, and here it is every time. Exact same thing. Because my oldest son went to these, my middle guy, they're all the same. You ready for camp? I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go, because that means you don't get to be on your PS5 for a week. You pick them up from camp, you know what they say? Had the best time and would like to go back.
Yep.
Can't wait to go back. All right. But this is the thing. They get in little cabins with their little friends, and they sing songs, and they play. It's like the most wholesome. Like, it's just nice. It's just nice. And that's all these kids were doing. It's the same thing. A lot of the children are 7 and 8 year old girls. And the reason is because there were cabins along the river. And in the cabins along the river at this one specific camp, the one that seems to be hit hardest.
Camp Mystic, yeah.
Yeah, Camp Mystic. Those cabins were directly, like, right on the riverbanks, and those were exclusively 7 and 8 year old girls. And it happened in the middle of the night. I mean, imagine if you just woke up in the middle of the night and you're 20 feet of water. The flooding started at 2, and by 4, within 30 minutes, they'd gotten 20 feet, and by 4, it was catastrophic.
You don't know, like, it's one of those things, and I've seen a ton of the videos and stuff, and with flooding like that. A place we go kayaking in Waynesboro, they were hit hard a couple years ago with flooding, and people died. And because the thing is in your head, you're like, okay, well, if the flood's coming, like, I'm just gonna get out of there. It happens so
quickly.
Yes.
And when it happens in the middle of the night, and then obviously this is going to be a political topic too, because with the National Weather Service, they're short-staffed right now. And some of the positions, there are positions that existed in January with the National Weather Service that do not exist now because the President of the United States let a car maker come in and slash all sorts of government positions, all right? And it's very easy, just like you're looking at paperwork and you're like, well, we don't need this person. Why do we need these people? Why do we need these people? Cut them all. Send them into early retirement. Cut them all. And then stuff like this happens, and there's at least some thought that if certain entities would have been staffed properly, there could have been better awareness, more of a heads up. Just maybe somebody who's not alive right now would still be alive. Maybe a family that is wrecked right now wouldn't be wrecked right now. I don't know. Turn on your cable news. They'll be talking about it all day long. But either way, no matter who's at fault, if anybody's at fault, just the facts of the story are terrifying because you just dropped your little girl off at camp and thought she's about to have the best week of her life with her best friend. And they got swept away in the middle of the night. I saw interviews with little boys who were fortunate enough to be able to escape. And it's just like, I can't even, I saw those little boys and I see those little,
your kids.
Yeah. Like there were two brothers. And I was like, those could be my two little guys talking about the exact same thing. And there are some miracles coming out of it. Like there's one girl who was found, do you see her, this one, in a tree?
Yeah, I saw that.
15 miles from where she was previously at. She was swept away 15 miles. They found her high up in a tree. She climbed up a tree and just was sitting in a tree. But just a perfect storm, for lack of a better word, of just disaster. Flooding very quickly, understaffed entities, middle of the night. There were some camps in the same vicinity. They just were quiet this week, silent. They didn't have campers. No tragedy there. But you had campers. Now people are dead. Counselors, people who ran the camp, trying to save children.
Right.
They die. It's just,
awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
I complain about stuff every day. I'll be complaining about new stuff by 2 o'clock, I promise. But this is something I try to remind myself of every day. If I'm not good at it, I apologize, but I try. Every day, we're the worst thing in the world. If you ever can just look up at any point in time and be like, the worst thing in the world hasn't happened to me or anybody I care about today, just chalk that up as a good day. That's an amazing day. Though you're going to have awful days. Hopefully nothing like this. Just every day that ain't an awful day is a good one.
Yeah.
Maybe not a perfect one. Maybe not one without frustration or disappointment or whatever. But there are families who were celebrating July 4th and their kids are gone. What happened to your daughter? She was at camp, a Christian camp, sleeping and having the best time of her life and got swept away by a flood that she never even saw coming. And now she's gone. I mean, Jesus, God, Lord. So obviously thoughts with the families, and we're still on search and we're in that phase of this, but there's not a lot of indications that there's going to be many encouraging stories coming out of this.
Right.
We're going to hear more bad ones than good ones, and the numbers are going to grow, and they're already too big. Just an awful tragedy, another weather-related tragedy in the United States of America. Yuck, I don't even know what to say. Let's just go, and we'll be back with GP's Carryout.
Murray State is going to the College World Series. It's easy for me to pick a team because 1, I love an underdog. 2, I hate UCLA, and I see that opening round matchup. And 3, we are connected to the school's most famous alumni, John Morant of Murray State.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Are you ready? Creed. By overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With very special guest, Daughtry. And Mammoth. Tickets on sale now at LiveNation.com. Don't miss Creed with Daughtry and Mammoth. The Summer of '99 tour.
1, 2, 3. Ready, go.
These are the Jordan 1, the crystals. These are the shoe that retails for $1,000. Oh, extra crystals. So if your crystals fall off, if your crystals fall off, actually these are the black crystals because they have. So the shoe has black crystals on there as well too. So you get an extra black crystals.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at LiveNation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit Shinedown.com.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. Let's wrap this up with GP's Carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
Whole bunch of stuff, but we mostly focused on your Memphis Grizzlies because it was a somewhat busy holiday weekend for our NBA franchise. Jay Huff traded to the Pacers. Jock Landale has agreed to a free agent deal with the Grizzlies that'll bring him here. So out with one center, in with a different one. Landale is just what most people will tell you, a better fit for the Grizzlies, given what the roster needs right now. Considering Zach Edey's ankle surgery, that's going to likely require him to miss the first part of the 2025-26 season. You need a different type of big for preparation in the preseason. You need a different type of big for regular season games once we get to that point. And no, Jock Landale is not going to win All-NBA anything, and perhaps isn't even a better player in a vacuum than Jay Huff. But as we discussed in the opening segment, he is can reasonably described as a better fit for this franchise in this moment. And so that deal makes some sense. Summer League gets underway. Grizzlies win Game 1 of Summer League against the Oklahoma City Summer Thunder. That was on Saturday night. Game 2 is set for tonight. We got an 8 p.m. tip, correct?
Let's go.
Grind City Media. You can stream it through the app. Rob Fisher, CJ Hurt, Pete Pranica going to be in studio. Jessica Benson will be on site live from Salt Lake City.
It's a good crew right there.
That is a great crew right there. Tip is at 8 o'clock. Pre-game will start at 7:45. So Summer Grizz tonight back in action, trying to improve to 2-0. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
What's today's biggest game?
I'm going to take you to the WNBA.
Oh, boy.
We got a 9 o'clock tip down in... Interesting.
Where we at?
Well, they're just calling it PHX Arena down in Phoenix.
PHX?
Do we not have a proper arena name? Are we trying to change the name of the arena down in Phoenix? What do you think's happening with PHX Arena?
Well, this in where the Suns play.
PHX Arena is formerly known as America West Arena, U.S. Airways Center, Talking Stick Resort Arena, Phoenix Suns Arena, and the Footprint Center. We're changing this name again?
PHX. I thought that was a type of bong.
I mean, it could be. It could be. It could be.
This is just it's just what I remember from the college days.
Yeah.
I thought I heard people say that.
PHS bong. Oh, yeah, I got it right here.
Did it pop up?
Yeah.
Thing's pretty intense looking, huh?
Well, I'll tell you in a second. Jesus Christ, Bennett.
Yeah, you don't want to do one of those.
Oh, buddy.
Without carving out some time, huh? To yourself.
You better carve out some time
Yeah.
and have YouTube called up.
Yep.
That
it looks dangerous, doesn't it?
That thing.
I doubt they're sponsoring the arena.
Buddy,
though.
I could get you to YouTube real quick.
Yeah. Doubt they're sponsoring the arena. I would assume this is short for Phoenix.
The Suns are going to sponsor their arena. They're going to name their arena after a bong. How about that?
Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew?
Just as Kevin Durant was getting out of there. You know? Kevin Durant. A real player in getting the marijuana rules changed in the NBA.
How about that?
How about that? That's part of his legacy.
Good.
I think that's part of his legacy.
Good on KD.
Anyway, it's
Thank
not
you.
a bong arena, but they are changing the name. Thank God. Like, this has just been FedEx Forum the whole time, you know?
I know. Thank God
Thank
for
God.
FedEx.
In
We
Phoenix,
love you.
In Phoenix, they don't know what to call this stupid arena.
I know.
There's always calling it. So, Talking Stick, America West, U.S. Airways, Footprint. There's a lot going on. Anyway, they're going to play a basketball game.
Okay. All right.
It's the Wings and the Mercury.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 All-Star guards in this. Paige Beckers on one side. That's for Dallas. Alyssa Thomas playing for the Mercury. Phoenix, 6.5-point favorite at home, no matter what you call their home. Tips at 9 o'clock. Totals 164.5. How you going to act, Bennett?
You know, they lost to the Wings the other night in Dallas, and they're on a 2-game losing streak. Phoenix is. They're having a good season. They're one of the better teams in the league at 12-6. I'm going to go Phoenix big. Even with the arena issues and the uncertainty surrounding all of that, I say big win for the Mercury inside PHX Arena.
Bennett does not see the Wings going to Phoenix inside PHX Arena and keeping it close tonight, so he's laying 6.5 points with your Phoenix Mercury.
Yeah.
What are we watching on TV?
Okay. I got to give Chris Verne a little credit. Old Big Mouth.
What's going on?
Okay. Remember Old Big Mouth was in here last week, and he was like, I was looking on TikTok, and I found a guy on TikTok, and he was ranking the top 25 things that have come out this year. Top 25 things in 2025. And he was like, and number 1, the guy said it's like one of the best things he's ever watched, Adolescence on Netflix. And I looked right at Old Big Mouth, and I said, I ain't never even heard of Adolescence. And you looked at right at Old Big Mouth, and you were like, I never even heard of Adolescence.
No, I never heard of it.
Okay. Well, then over the weekend, like our oldest son came back in town with his girlfriend, and my wife had a friend in town. We had like people at the house, and like cooking on the grill and the whole deal and whatever. And I was like, hey, Old Big Mouth was telling me about this show. It's on Netflix and looked kind of interesting. You guys want to watch it? 4 parts. Each episode's about an hour. It's a limited series. Old Big Mouth said he saw on TikTok that it was good. Should we watch it? Everybody was like, okay, sure. It's great.
It's on Netflix?
It's on Netflix. Nobody's ever said this to me before. Watch Adolescence until Old Big Mouth sat there. And it's great.
What's the premise?
Okay, the premise is this. It's set in England, so you're going to have to deal with the British accents.
I love British accents.
I do too.
I've been to England.
I haven't been to England, Bennett. I've never been to England.
That seems like something you should correct.
I just haven't been. I watched Wimbledon. Should I go to Wimbledon?
Oh, you should go to Wimbledon.
I thought about it. I literally have thought about it. Yeah.
Wimbledon would be cool.
Yeah,
I bet that'd be fun.
So you're in England. The premise is this. You're in England. The opening scene, I'm not ruining anything. This is the opening scene of the show. You see like a SWAT team outside of a house, and they're about to bust in. They're looking for somebody. You would think it's Diddy, but it's not Diddy. It's a 13-year-old boy. And he's quickly arrested. And they have arrested him because they believe he's a suspect in the murder of one of his classmates, a girl.
Okay.
I don't want to say anything else. Then we're off from there.
Okay.
But it's 4 episodes. Each episode is a continuous one-shot. In other words, there's one camera. And it's the opening scene, and this camera just follows the whole... There is never a new camera. There's never like a abrupt scene jump. It's just you're following the camera, and it takes you to different people, and they're all having conversations. And a lot of it is just 2 people talking for long periods of time, or 3 people talking for long periods of time.
Okay.
Maybe the best thing this is the type of TV I like. I watch it and I go, ooh. Like, first off, I watched the first episode and we were all tired and was like, yeah, let's watch the next one. Like, we all wanted to keep watching it. And we all have different television interests. Like, everybody who was in the room does not like the same type of stuff.
Right.
But we were all, I think, sort of like, this is
this is interesting and intense. And it makes you think. I think as a parent, it makes you think about what kids are going through these days. It left something with me. Like, it's really
I'm
good.
in.
Really good. I cannot recommend it enough. Perhaps it won't be for everybody, but this is the type of stuff I love. It's easy to get through. You're never bored, and it'll leave you like thinking about. Like, I wanted to go. This is the best thing I can. This is the best compliment I can give a television show. When I'm done watching it, do I want to go read about it? Do I want to see what other people think about it? Do I want to learn about
Listen
it?
to a podcast about it.
Yes,
yeah,
all of that. And it checks every one of those boxes. Adolescence on Netflix, 2 thumbs up, 4 parts, each episode about an hour. It's tremendous. Tremendous.
What's the best thing we've read?
Forbes had a nice piece, Forbes.com, on what was this weekend the final performance of Ozzy Osbourne with Black Sabbath.
I ordered it.
Did you order it?
I ordered the pay-per-view, yeah. Well, it wasn't a pay-per-view, but it was like a live stream. It was like $30. I ordered it, and it was so worth my $30. It was so worth it.
So I was just like ignorant to this. I didn't realize exactly what was happening. I was like, okay, Black Sabbath will play one final show. But like Metallica showed up.
Oh, it was a huge,
Metallica showed up and played Black Sabbath covers. Guns N' Roses showed up and played Black Sabbath covers. It was like a deal.
Everyone's
Tool was there.
Everyone made fun of Axl in the chat.
Meaning he can't sing?
Sounds like Mickey Mouse.
Well, he can't sing.
No.
Like, arguably, he never could, but, like, he certainly can't
He
now.
can't hit those notes, no. But no,
I
it was so good.
I wonder this. Like, at what point... Because they can still fill up stadiums. That's why they're still doing this, right?
Yes.
But at what point, like, just because people will come see me do this, do I not need to do this anymore?
That's a good question.
We talk about this with boxers all the time. Like, yo, okay, yeah, they'll still book a match and put you on TV,
Right.
but you don't, Roy Jones, you don't need to box anymore. We don't need to see you like this.
Right.
At some point, does that happen to Axl Rose?
I think maybe. It was so good. There were so many awesome performances. One of the most underrated ones actually was it wasn't a band. It was a bunch of people from different bands. It was like Chad, the drummer from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. It was Tom Morello on guitar and Steven Tyler on vocals, and he killed it. You know, Aerosmith, they had to quit touring because he was having vocal issues. Steven Tyler was. And he was amazing, dude. It was one of the best performances. And then just like I was worried, you know, obviously because, you know, Ozzy's going to come out and sit in a chair. He's got really bad Parkinson's. Yeah. Dude, he was awesome.
I saw some of the clips and he was hitting it. He was doing it like to the best of his ability.
Yeah, to the best of his ability. He's an old man who's stricken with Parkinson's. Like, he's obviously dealing with some bad health stuff. But I just thought he was great, and hearing him talk like in between songs, that's the best that he could, and he got very emotional during some of it. I thought it was really, really great all around.
So my offhanded comment, just when you brought this to my attention last week, was like, why are we doing this? And then I don't like that I said that. Here's what I would rather say, looking back on it now. Why are we doing this? Because people wanted to see it, clearly. You streamed it from Tennessee, and people packed it in Cardiff, so people want to see it. But like, Ozzy got to have that moment.
Yeah, man.
I saw Axl Rose post about it. You know what he said? It was an honor meeting Ozzy.
I was surprised they never met. That's wild.
He said that.
Yeah.
It's crazy that we've never met.
Yeah.
But like, Ozzy Osbourne got to meet Axl Rose, got to see James Hetfield, got to see Steven Tyler, got to see Maynard Keenan, and all these men got to spend a moment with him and just say, man, you meant the world to me. We might not exist without you. So why do you do something like that? Because Ozzy got to, just forget Ozzy Osbourne, rock and roll legend, a man who is clearly suffering and nearing what is probably the end of his life, got to have a moment where he got to be in front of adoring fans one more time and got to hear some of the biggest acts in the history of music come to him and say, man, we love you and you meant the world. That's why you do it.
Yep.
You got to have that moment.
He got it.
It was really sweet.
It was cool.
I was sort of dismissive of it, but then as I saw the response to it and what it actually was, like Ozzy sitting in a chair, it's like a group picture, like a class picture, but it's Steven Tyler and Axl Rose and like all. That's
the who's who,
That's awesome. It was a sweet thing. It was a cool thing. I'm glad you got to enjoy it.
It was good.
Go read about it at Forbes.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow will be Tuesday, so we'll look back at Grizz Jazz Summer League, look ahead to Grizz Sixers Summer League. It's all Summer League stuff around here these days.
Let's go.
I'm fired up about it. I'm excited.
Me too.
Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to enjoy mine, and we will meet back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful. Be kind, be good, rep your hood.